Good morning, all of you. Welcome to the point. In this video, we'll be going through a small topic related to what is the two kind of GDPs and what is the difference between the two. So let us start with the definition of what GDP is. So GDP is a gross domestic product, and it measures the monetary value of all the goods and services produced within the domestic boundaries of a country within a time frame, and that time frame is usually an year. So what GDP is all about, whatever the goods and services a country is producing within a time frame of 1 year, the monetary value of all the goods and services is the sum of all the goods and services will be the gross domestic product. So there are so many products that is being produced in an economy, ranging from cars, machines, agricultural products, consumer products like shampoos, soft drinks, eatables, durables. So whenever we add the value of all these products and sum it up, so the value that comes is GDP. So now what is this nominal GDP and real GDP? We'll first understand what is nominal GDP. So whenever all the goods and services are evaluated at their current market price, the present market price, the value that comes is nominal GDP. So in the previous slide, as we learned that there's so many goods being produced like machinery, cars, consumer goods, durable goods, eatables, and everything. So whenever we add these products and evaluate them and add them at their present market price, so whatever the figure comes is nominal GDP. I'll explain with an example. For let's say there are 100 pens being produced in an economy. This is this example is hypothetical so that I can explain you in an easier way. So let's suppose there are 100 pens of 10 rupees each that is being produced in an economy in 1 year. So what is the total? What is the total? That is rupees 1000. And let's say there are 100 shoes that is being produced at the rupees 20 each. So the total value comes is 2000 rupees. So whenever we add this, which comes to rupees 3000, this is their current market price. Okay, so whenever we sum it up, so the value that comes is nominal GDP. As simple as that. Now let's understand what is real GDP, and then you can clearly make out the difference as to whatever there is. So now we will understand what is real GDP. So this real GDP is whenever the goods and services produced in an economy in an year is evaluated at the price prevailing in the base year. So whenever we have to make certain comparisons of economic data, we usually keep 1 year which is called as base year, and we compare everything with that base year, so as to get exact idea as to how much we have progressed or how much is the inflation, what is the growth rate, at what trajectory are we growing. So that the concept of base year is very important in economics for understanding of every concept. So in the case of real GDP, whatever base year we have decided, which in the present case is year 2011 and 12. So the base year which the government considers for a comparison of GDP data as of now is 2011 and 12. So whatever the prices that were prevailing in 2011 and 12, and whenever we sum up the GDP as per the rates prevailing in the base year, the data which comes is the real GDP. So the GDP evaluated at constant prices. So we assume that the price in the base year is constant. Now we'll again take an example better. So we were producing, right, pens, 100 pens, right, and 100 shoes in the previous example, and the current price of the pens were rupees 10. So let's assume that in 2011 and 12 the price of pen was rupees 8, and the shoes were priced at 10 per shoe. So what's the GDP at that time? So if we see 800 and this comes to 1000, right? And if we add it up, so this amount which comes up is the real GDP, because we have evaluated the production at the price prevailing in the base rate. So now if we compare both the data, which is the current, sorry, the nominal GDP which was coming 3000, and the real GDP, so you could see a difference of rupees 1200 here, right? That the current GDP, sorry, the nominal GDP is 3000, and when evaluated at the constant price, it is 1800. So what is this 1200, and what does this shows or signifies? This 1200 is inflation. It shows that the price of pen has increased from 8 rupees per pen in 2011-12 to 10 rupees per pen in 2021. And same goes with the shoes, which was 10 rupees in this the base year, that is 11 and 12, and now in 2021 it is 20. Yeah, so the difference is what? The change in price, which has obviously increased. So that, what does it denote? It denotes inflation. Understand this, let us look at the map of India's GDP data from 2000 to 2020. Also, I would like to add one point over here, which is both the data pertaining to the nominal GDP and the real GDP is published by National Statistical Office under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, which is called MOSPI in short. So both these data is published by NSO. Okay, coming back to the graph, which shows the nominal and the real GDP. So nominal GDP is this one, this is the real one. Okay, so if we track down, both of it is falling in this, then it goes like this. And if you see it here, why is the difference here? Do you remember the economic crisis, the subprime lending crisis which happened in this year? So there was a huge gap. The real GDP remained low because it was based on the constant prices, and the inflation was shooting. That's why the nominal, hence this gap. So these gaps denote the inflation, which all, and certainly we are talking about the India's graph. So this talks about the inflation which India faced during this subprime lending crisis, which happened during this duration. And then if you see, this gap is lowering down, which means that there's not much gap that has been there in the recent years between the constant prices and the current prices, as and then it's you can see it is narrowing down. Yeah, so yeah, I hope the concept of GDP as well as the two types of GDP and their difference is clear to you by now. This is all for the today's video. Thank you so much.